Hi, my name is MariaHaynie and I'm a graduate student in UC Irvine's MHCID program. Today I'll be presenting the results of a usability test. I chose to research a company called Say Insurance for several student projects. Say is a new auto insurance provider serving Missouri, Illinois, and Colorado, and Tennessee. It was launched in 2016 and is based in Columbia, Missouri. And its challenge is to stand out in a crowded market with larger and well-established competitors, and it needs to stand out as a trustworthy provider of excellent service. During January, February, and March of 2018, I performed 4 research projects: a heuristic evaluation, a cognitive walkthrough, a competitive analysis, and the usability test that I will go over soon. The heuristic evaluation was a project where I synthesized findings from 4 evaluators, which were my 3 classmates plus myself, and we all used Nielsen's 10 usability heuristics to evaluate a feature on Say Insurance's website called the Insurance Score. We found 7 positive findings and 5 areas of growth. I then performed a cognitive walkthrough. I evaluated the process for a current policyholder to obtain their insurance ID cards from Say Insurance's website. I used a method called the Streamlined Cognitive Walkthrough method, and I found opportunity to clarify for the returning user what happens upon sign-in and different ways we could control the language for improved understanding. I then did a competitive analysis of 6 competitors, 3 direct and 3 indirect. This analysis included a light heuristic evaluation, but this time, instead of using Nielsen's, I used Peter Morville's because of his concern for credibility. As a new company, I'm interested in understanding how Say Insurance could stand out as a credible company, and I thought that this would be a good opportunity to learn from larger and more established companies. I did find many opportunities that Say could use for boosting its own credibility, and ways that Say could leverage emerging technologies to stay ahead of the game. I'm now going to switch to talking about the latest project, the user test. My focus was on 2 particular questions. Do users find Say, a new company, credible enough to trust? And what value does the insurance score, a potential differentiator for Say, bring to users? Is this something that will attract them and tell them, this is why you should choose Say over a different company? To do this, I asked their impressions of the homepage and whether or not they would feel comfortable providing their personal information. In assessing the insurance score, I looked at findability, clarity, and value. To do this, I used 2 tools called user testing and Loop 11. User testing is a qualitative talk out loud tool where users were given tasks and questions, and they were able to tell me what they were thinking as they worked through these. This answers the hows and the whys. Loop 11 tells me the whats and the whiches. So what information was easy to find? Which particular things were easy or difficult? Which links were used? I used screen grabs from sayinsurance.com, and I put them in a prototyping tool called Just in Mind. I was able to link them together so that these screen grabs operated much like the real site, but would allow the user to go through the insurance score without actually having to give their personal information. Through Just in Mind, I was able to export HTML that I then pushed using GitHub to a personal account, and that generated URLs that I was able to integrate with Loop 11. I was then able to use Loop 11 to source participants from Mechanical Turk, and after I cleaned all of my data from all participants, I came up with 73 participants that answered all of my questions from start to finish. Usertesting.com, I had 3 participants from one of the 4 states that Say serves. These are active internet users on Facebook and Pinterest, and all 3 own cars. As for my findings, specifically on credibility, I did ask the users using Loop 11, based on their homepage impressions, how credible do they think Say Insurance is? 45% thought it was credible, with another 12% saying it was very credible. But what stood out to me was the 31% that thought it was neutral. They didn't know what to make of Say based on the homepage. User testing results said, I feel like it is credible based on the design. The terms and conditions let me know it is a legit website. This user also talked about the lock icon in the URL being another indicator that she looks for. Another user said, "This site looks good. I've never heard about the insurance score thing, so that's kind of neat to know about. I thought this was really interesting because I was evaluating insurance score and credibility as two separate things, but this user thought the insurance score was an impactor on credibility." The third user did not find the site to be credible, and she particularly did not like the colors or the blurry picture in the hero image. This isn't surprising. Say has a very colorful palette, and it's just common sense that not everyone will appreciate that. When I was evaluating the insurance score, the first thing was findability. So the users had a task. Could you find the insurance score start page from the home page? For this task, 64% of users were able to find it, but 36% failed. This was the home page that the participants were given. Now, to get to the insurance score start page, in one click from this page, you would go here, a link in the top nav, and 54% of users correctly clicked this link. The next most clicked link on this task took them to a blog page, which they got to from one of these two places. 14% of users went there. But then the third most common action on this task was abandonment. 18% of users did not know where to click at all from the homepage. Our users also had some interesting things to say about what is the insurance score. They were asked to put insurance score in their own words, and then they went through the process of getting their insurance score, and then they were asked to say again, do you understand what insurance score is? And here was their response.
Kind of. I think I mostly understand it. I'm not sure how it's helping me save, though, still.
So this user thought it was focused on savings, and you could hear the hesitation in the long pause. She was really thinking and was not sure.
I do feel like I'm still a little bit unsure of what an insurance score is. I didn't really read through all the information, so I bet if I read through those articles, I'd have a better understanding of what it was. It says it was something about claims or how likely you were to get a claim, something like that. I still feel like driving record is probably a part of it, but maybe not most of it, I guess. I don't know. And I also feel like it's still connected to your credit score somehow.
So this user went around several different things. Credit score, driving record, something with saving rates. You can tell there's a lot of confusion about what the insurance score is, even after going through and obtaining the insurance score. The third thing I assessed was, is this valuable? The Loop 11 answers show that 48.6% of participants said it was valuable, and another 18% said it was very, very valuable. This is interesting because even though users may not understand it fully, they think it's still valuable. It's also valuable for the business, since 47.9% said that they were likely to get a quote from Say after finding out their insurance score, and another 8.2% said they were very likely to do this. There is a larger chunk, 27.4%, who said they were unsure. So again, this is a neutral area that Say could work on improving. As for improving credibility, I again think that neutral 31% is an opportunity to persuade and convince users that Say is credible, and although it's a new company, it knows what it's doing. I outlined many details about what I think would be a good way to go about this in my competitive analysis, but for the sake of overview, a couple things could be social validation. Say could incorporate user testimonials with images so that incoming users will see people they consider their peers that are vouching for Say, and that goes a long way in boosting credibility. Say could also name drop and logo drop media outlet coverage that it has to prove that it is a legitimate company. It could also humanize and add weight to the staff behind SAY to show that it's real humans working behind the website. That would also go a long way towards improving the credibility. As for improving the insurance score, I thought it was interesting that 56.2% of users thought they wanted to know more about how insurance score affects their rates. This ties back to what one of the participants from user testing said. She thought it had something to do with rates. So I would take this and keep this in mind when reevaluating the following 3 steps. So the first thing that we need to do is clarify the path from the home page. Even if we optimize the insurance score quote flow, if there isn't a way to get there, it won't help. So we can clarify that path. Secondly, we can focus on those savings. If this is what users want to know, when we evaluate the content and think about ways to clarify our messaging, putting savings out there might be a way to motivate users to go through the process. The third thing that I would consider doing would be to acknowledge the words and the expectations the user have. So if they're thinking that the insurance score has something to do with credit score or their driving record, I would put those words in our content and explain how we do not actually use those other methods to get your insurance score. Either way, they're looking for something that validates what they're thinking. So even if we explain how we don't use those, it could be helpful for a user. In the future, I think other opportunities to expand the insurance score could include introducing the insurance score during the quote flow. Because money was an issue, I think that when a user is presented with their potential rate for SAY, would be an excellent opportunity to introduce the insurance score as a way they could save money in the future on their rates. I also would consider reevaluating asking for a user's social security number to show the score. This is a really big ask for a user who may or may not trust SAY insurance and may or may not fully understand what the insurance score is. So they're already on the fence on 2 big important issues, and then this big ask, it isn't surprising that users would walk away at that point. The third thing that I would consider is planting a flag on the insurance score. This is a unique thing that SAY is doing, and it could really be a standout. Like our data showed, users do think that it's very valuable. In fact, to close this presentation, I would like to end it with a quote from usertesting.com. Here's what the user said. "Insurance score makes me like SAY a little better because other companies don't tell you this." I think that sums up a different way that SAY could really stand out in this crowded marketplace. Thank you.